and I had to take the Bear to work. That's her nickname. Anyway, I shall be driving home now. We're gonna go down. We're in the city of La Habra. La Habra. Some of the cities in this, La Mirada, La Habra. Yeah, I know they're Spanish, but this is, it's amazing that they movies haven't named stuff like that out here with I'm telling you, Roscoe Boulevard, that's Roscoe P. Coltrane. Chevy Chase was Chevy Chase before Chevy Chase was anybody. I'm just wondering if he just took that as his name. Don't know. Guess we'll never know. I like coming up Beach Boulevard to Lambert from the 91. Well, as I go back, I go down Harbor to Baskin Cherry and Baskin Cherry over to Euclid, then Euclid to the freeway. It just seems like a funner drive back. You don't have to deal with as much. So, it's morning time, and it's Los Angeles in overcast. It's going to get up to 70 today, and then it's supposed to be like 60. I am going to go to the boat today, but working late last night. By the time I got home, by the time I got to bed, it was already close to midnight, and then I had to wake up and drive the Bear to work. So we left at just a little after 5. It's 5 in the morning here because we're on the West Coast, and I dropped her off. We got there so quick. I'm telling you, we left at 10 after 5, and I dropped her off at 5:35. It just, you can never do that during the week. It's not going to happen. There's traffic is really bad. But yeah, Sundays are the best for driving around LA. Get up on a Sunday morning and go down to 101. You can. I'd still stay clear of the 5. I've been on the 5 freeway at 4 in the morning on a Sunday morning. And where's all this traffic from? Yeah. One time I was going up to do some work around Dodger Stadium, and I'm going into LA, and there was so much traffic on the southbound lanes leaving. I actually was like, what, is there like an attack on the city and everybody's trying to get out of the city? What's going on? Oh, yeah. Yeah, I had a friend. He could get the strangest jobs and helping him out. And one day you'd be towing cars to Phoenix on not really a big rig, but like a 350, an F-350 with a trailer, and he's throwing a bunch of station wagons out of California because people wanted them in Phoenix. And the next day he's cutting the grass with a weed whacker on the hillside of Dodger Stadium. He's just all over the map with, he's just an entrepreneur. He's always kept his ear open for, something. And he started that the weed whacker company, and I don't know, it's a landscaping company, I would say. And he started it, and he got some contracts, and then he sold it for $25,000. They always do things like that. And somebody just needed, hey, I have a deal where if you can get me cars, and this kind of car, and at the time this was in the 80s, if you could get station wagons out of California into Phoenix, we buy them. And the next thing you know, hey, well, can you drive a 350? Or can you drive a truck with a trailer? Yeah. And he'd drive one and I'd drive one. Back and forth to Phoenix we'd go. We'd be pulling the trailers back empty. And every now and then he'd find somebody that needed something coming back to LA, and he'd have a car or two on maybe his truck. I don't think I ever drove a car back on my trailer when I was working with him. But that was Kenny. Went in the Army with him. Went to Germany. Went to Missouri for Fort Leonard Wood for basic training at AIT. AIT was my MOS training. I was a 63 B10 wheel vehicle and generator mechanic. Boy, I hated that. I busted my knuckles up. Ugh. I literally got out of the Army and I became a chauffeur. After I became a chauffeur, I started doing home theaters because I was just into it, and I built computers, so I learned networking. And I couldn't find anybody when networking went from cable to Cat 5. No one could tell me how to punch down the wires, and I had to figure it out on my own. And there was no internet at the time like there is now, where you could just say, how do you punch down a RJ45 jack? Gee, trying to get an RJ45 compression tool was a job. But I did find Orbeck Electronics, and that was a great company. It was sad seeing them go out of business. They were awesome. You used to be able to go in there and just buy what you need. Now you have to go to Marback down in Costa Mesa. Great company. Oh, hey, where's anybody from? You can type something, and I'm getting enough lights I can stop and give you a shout out. I'm Captain Walt from The Aviator. Well, I'll tell you, this is how I became a captain. Now, I grew up here in Southern California, and my dad always had a little boat. We only had a little glass bar with a Volvo 4-cylinder inboard-outboard. And I learned on that, and we would go out, and he'd give me the helm because he wanted to fish. He's fishing. So I do a lot of what we call trolling. And he was out trolling. He'd catch something, and then I just set it at the wheel, and he could shout out the orders, and I knew exactly what he meant. Take her to 1,500. All right. Take her down to 8. All right. I need you to head out at 90 degrees. Yes, sir. I'd turn that compass 90 to 90, and I'd stay on the heading. And he just would teach me. So then, now, let's fast forward. I'm in my 20s or 30s. Let's see. It would be 96 or 90. Yeah, 96. And my boss bought a 35-foot custom hydrocraft. It's a catamaran motor yacht. It's 35 feet long, but here's the wild part. It's 15 feet wide because it's catamaran. It's awesome. So it had a lot of room. And it just has 2 outboard motors on it. And he just said, hey, I got my new yacht. Let me show you the bay. Yeah, so he takes me down, he backs out, and he takes me around the bay. And great. But, he doesn't know that I grew up in this bay, but he takes it back to the dock, and he bounces it off of the dock for 15 minutes. Now, I'm his employee. I am not about to tell my boss that, here, let me do it for you. I just sat there, like, don't say anything. Then he asked me, hey, you want to give it a try? And I'm like, sure. Do you want it bow in or aft in? He says, if you can bring the aft in, that's great. We got the swim step. It's easier to get in and off the boat. So what I did was, I noticed which way the wind was blowing. I went up the channel into the wind, turned the boat to line it up with the dock, let the wind push me back to be perfectly lined with the dock, backed it into the slip, put it in neutral, and then just before we hit the dock, I put it in forward gear, brought the boat to a stop. It's just floating perfectly. Jumped out, tied her up. Yes, we already had the fenders out. We needed to know that. Fenders are what people call the bumpers. But yeah, and he was just, his eyes were like, what? How'd you do that? And I go, well, I grew up on boats. And I told him, you have twin screws, two motors. So you can make this boat dance. So it's easy. And that was true on a 35. He got a few years later, he bought a 44-footer. And I ended up buying the 35 from him. And in trade, because I put a theater together for him, a really nice theater. And he bought a 44 Maxim. And that was a pretty boat. And that boat, no bow thruster, so yeah, just the motors. And that port motor, oh, it was horrible. It would always stall on you. So it was a pain in the butt. But right when we finally got it figured out, he sold it. And then he bought his next bigger boat. And then his next bigger boat. Now I'm on a 90. And, well, it's actually an 85-foot boat. So it's 85-foot bow to stern. With a 4.5-foot swim step and a 1-foot pulpit. So it's actually 90 and a little more. So I guess you get to call it a 90-foot boat. But it's actually an 85 bow to stern. Pulpit's that little piece out in front of the anchor, just in case you know. Wow, it's turning into a nice day. I mean, yeah, it's overcast, but I did see that the UV is going to be high today, and usually that means the clouds are going to burn off. And I'm going to be in Newport Beach. It's going to be a nice day. I'm going to go down into the engine room. I need to get some engine paint, and I'm going to clean up the motors. I want to get some red and some yellow, because I have Detroit's, and the logo on the Detroit is red and yellow, and I want to paint my logo on my heat exchangers. That's where the logo is on the engine. A heat exchanger is cool. It's kind of like a radiator for boats, and what it does is you run antifreeze through the engine, and then you run seawater, and it goes through a water pump, and there's obviously two water pumps, through the heat exchanger. So the seawater cools the antifreeze, and the antifreeze cools the motor. A lot of boats do that now. Even offshore boats will do that. I had heat exchangers on our Warlock offshore that we had. That was a 35 STX with two 496s. That thing would do 90. I had it up to 88, but Carter Reeds could get it up to 90. Carter Reeds owned the Warlock, and he was the company racer. He raced the boats. That guy, incredible boat offshore racer. You can maybe look up him on the internet and see what he's done. Nice guy too, by the way. Nice guy. Carter Reed, shout out. But yeah, and now we're looking at getting another offshore, maybe a little longer than 35 feet, but he's not going to look for the absolute racer offshore. Not looking for a cigarette or, a fountain, but maybe getting a Formula. A Formula is still a nice offshore boat, but it's going to have a little bit more luxury, like maybe a head in it, might even have an actual galley in it. But now instead of buying something 35 feet, we're going to be looking in the 40s. And then we might be selling Aviator. We might have a buyer for it right now. And to replace it, he's looking at a 88-foot Pershing. Now that is bow to stern, and with his swim step, I don't know how long it is. I'm going to have to find out. And I might be going out on that on Thursday with the present owner and his captain, so I can learn the boat. It depends. We're offering my services to him so that I can learn the boat if we buy it. So that's going to be cool. Be out on a new boat, but I will not be captain on that trip. I will be I guess I might even just be a deckhand, but that's fine. As long as I'm on the boat and I'm learning, that is fine. So, that, you know, and anytime you're on the water, a day on the water is better than any day on land. That's how I look at it. Oh, I got some shout outs. Look at this. Oh, and I lost my glasses. So, I can, no, this car, you can't, they're behind the seat. I'm not getting those glasses till I come to a stop. All I was doing was trying to push them down, and I touched them in just the wrong way. It's one of those things. But hey, shout out, thanks for saying hi. Look at here, 6:05. We're almost to the 6:05. Wow. I'm supposed to be quiet when I get back to the house. Like I said, I got up I went to bed close to midnight. Woke up at what? 4:45. So I got almost 5 hours worth of sleep. Or whatever. But this is my day of rest. Put my head back on the pillow for a little bit, and then get up and head down to the boat. I want to do some videos, and I really want to do some engine detailing, paint the engine and stuff. We had a trip coming back from where were we going? Oh, I remember. We were coming from, going from, San Pedro, and we were going into Alamitos Bay. And literally as we're entering the bay, I'm watching my gauges in my port motor. The temperature's going up. So I run down in the engine room. I have a deckhand take the wheel. He's been in and out of the mouth of Alamitos Bay before, so I knew he could handle that. And I run down the engine room, and on the port side of the port motor, I have a blown injection hose on the. Come on, I'm trying to say this right. The injector cooling. Yeah, I have this fuel cooler that cools the injectors lines before it goes into the injectors. So I'm like, wow, how did this happen? So I'm trying to clamp this up. I put a hose into the heat exchanger. And so it's basically just feeding water back in as it's being pumped out. And I get it closed off. And as I come up, he's just like floating in the middle of the kind of the bay interior. And everybody's like looking at this boat. This is this 90-foot boat just kind of doing a circle. And that's because I was in the engine room and he didn't know where to go. So I took the things and I brought it in, and we were just moving the boat at this point. And this is only about 6 months ago. This is before we moved to Newport. And the owner was standing on the dock and was going, "What's going on? Why were you spinning around?" And I just had to look at him going, "Blew a hose. I was in the engine room, and the guy didn't know where our dock was." Our slip. And then I surely didn't want him pulling into the channel and into our slip. I do that in slow motion. If you're ever with me while I'm on the boat and I'm pulling in, you'll get extremely bored because it looks like slow motion. Because ooh, wow, you can't really see, and then you can pull out forward and wow, that's coming down. Yeah, so I pulled the boat in. But hey, I saved my port motor. Anytime you save a motor, that's a good thing. I don't even know what I told the owner. I could have told him what I did, but I don't know. I can't remember. I'm going to grab that, grab my glasses. Where are they? They're way back here. So I want to give a shout out to people that said hi. So here we go. Oh, a bit abusive. A bit abusive is from India. So that's a cool shout out. Hi, a bit abusive. Guy Edit said hi, hello. And so did Nick Maystruck. Would you pronounce that struck with the Y there? I would guess so. It looks like Maystruck. And hi. So yeah, hi to everybody. Well, I am going to go live when I head down to Newport Beach. I'm going to be in the engine room. So it'll be a little bit hard to do a live stream from the engine room because the internet is really bad there, and so is the cell service. But I will try, and we'll see what happens. People, have a blessed day. Have a great Sunday. I hope it's not raining where you are, and you're having the most beautiful day, and your day is blue. Blue is a good day. See ya. Bye.